Hi everyone! Welcome back to Comfy Cozy Crochet with Triss. I am Triss and today we are doing Movie and Stitch. Hashtag Movie and Stitch to be exact. This is a collaboration with several other YouTubers. Terri over at Yarnjoy podcast, Valerie from Cuddly Crochet, I believe, Lee from Lee Mac, who is so much fun. I'm getting so many movie recommendations from this lady. She's awesome, you guys. She does movie reviews and crochet stuff. Awesome. And Ella from No Catchy Name, who needs no introduction. She's also completely awesome. So I will have all four of those ladies listed down below. Reggie also does it from J-Hook Crochet. Heather from the Crochet Witch. Anyway, all you need to know is if you go to YouTube and type hashtag or the pound symbol Movie and Stitch, all one word, also will be linked down below, and you'll find it in the title of this video at the very beginning. Should be in blue. You should be able to just click on it. But if you want to search for it, you can do that too. You should be able to find all of our videos, and this week I am going to be reviewing and giving you the trivia for all of our C movies, and I'm going to announce at the end what movies I'm expecting to watch in the next 2 coming weeks for the letter D. So this week I watched 3 movies, or 2.5 actually. I'm actually in the process of watching the 3rd one right now. Well, I've paused it to do this video for you all, obviously. Okay, so the first movie I chose was The Commuter. This is featuring Liam Neeson. It is listed as an action mystery thriller. Are we surprised? Looks like I'm kind of an action movie junkie, according to Lisa. By the way, if you guys have not met my friend Lisa from LadybirD Loves, listed down below. She's amazing. She likes to give me a little bit of guff for my absolute adoration for action movies, so I'm sure she's getting a bit of a chuckle now at my expense. But she's amazing, you guys. She makes me laugh until my cheeks hurt. She is so sweet. She has the kindest heart you've ever seen. She's in the middle of crocheting 2 beautiful projects right now. One is this gorgeous shawl, which I will be looking up in the weeks to come. I'm looking for really beautiful shawl patterns, so if anybody's got them, let me know. And a cardigan at the same time. I'm like, what? No, I usually have one big project and then I have a couple little things going here and there. No, not Lisa. She just goes all in. She's got wonderful content. She does amazing lives every Friday, as well as lots of little things here and there. She's doing a really fun thing with her hushed hookings, which is usually just her sitting there crocheting, which is kind of funny in and of itself and fun to watch. But now she's doing this thing where we're supposed to be guessing who it is she's talking to on the phone while she's hooking. Anyway, please go check out my friend Lisa. She's got the most lovely English accent you'll ever hear. She is just a sweetheart and I love her content. So please go check her out. Think about joining her family. Let her know that Triss sent you, okay? Would really appreciate that. So anyway, back to my love of action movies. I chose another one this week. This is with Liam Neeson. It came out in 2018. It's rated PG-13. It runs for 1 hour and 44 minutes. It says, the short little synopsis says, an action thriller in which an insurance salesman / ex-cop is caught up in a life-threatening conspiracy during his daily commute home. I think that's a really nice synopsis, and I'm going to leave it there. I think when you're looking into mystery type movies, you don't want to know too much, or else it really starts to give it away, and that's just not fun. But just know it is a little bit more of a psychological thing. Basically, a question is posed to him, hypothetically. Would you do this one little thing if somebody asked it of you, if it was completely inconsequential to you, and you would have no idea if there were any consequences to others based on what you did. Would you do it for $100,000? What kind of person are you? That's the tagline. Okay. So my husband and I sat down and we watched this movie while I continued weaving in my ends on this puppy. And I'm getting closer and closer. Let's see. This, I just showed you the side that I've actually got quite a bit more to do. But all of this has been woven in now. So we are just, we're getting so close. See that? We're just at the kind of tail end of this side. Now, don't look because, oh baby, look at the ends to weave in on this side. I've done some of them, but there still are some. So I've got a few more movies to watch, huh? Let's see. Like I said, this movie is starring Liam Neeson and Vera Farmiga, who is excellent. You will have seen her in movies such as The Judge with Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall. Excellent movie. In fact, it might just be a preview for my J film. So, a little bit of trivia about the Commuter. Are you ready? This is always my favorite part. In the very beginning of the film, Vera Farmiga's character references 16 personality types that basically everyone on Earth can fall into based on choices, circumstances, thoughts, whatever. Based on your personality, right? And this is actually the 16 personality types of the Myers-Briggs test, which is near and dear to my heart, as Lisa well knows. I actually sent her a book on the Myers-Briggs personality types called Please Understand Me. They actually have two different versions, Please Understand Me 1 and Please Understand Me Volume 2 by David Kiersey. If you guys are interested, this is an excellent book on personality types and the Myers-Briggs test in general. There's like, I don't know, 120 questions or 75 questions or something in the beginning of the book, and then throughout the book it tells you all about the different personality types, how they'd be as parents, students, in the workplace, as, you know, spouses, things like that. Anyway, I digress, but that is actually what she's talking about, which I thought was awesome because it's something that I'm terribly, terribly interested in. Liam Neeson actually went on a talk show and said that no scenes in the entire movie, which is almost entirely set on this train, were actually filmed on a train. There were several, there was a set and green screen, and they also basically had a mock train car set up, one single mock train car that they then changed the scenery on and moved things around to look as if he was going from one train car to the next. Kind of interesting. Third little thing is Vera Farmiga is billed quite prominently in the film. I mean, it's starring Liam Neeson, but she's definitely the other main, you know, big hitter in this, even though like Sam Neill's in it and a couple of other people that you'll recognize. Vera Farmiga definitely gets second billing, and she's actually only in 6 minutes of screen time. You hear her voice, but not actually in it as much as you would think. Maybe that's a little bit of a spoiler. Not really, though. One little tidbit that was a little bit interesting, Liam Neeson is a former cop in this film. Seems like as he usually is. And he meets up with the former captain of the, or new captain of the police force, one of his old comrades. And the captain mentions that he spends more time at City Hall than actually at the police precinct. And he says, quote, but that just goes with the stripes. But it says, captains and lieutenants wear bars as signifiers of rank. Lieutenants wear a single bar, and captains wear 2 gold bars that look like a section of railroad tracks. Only NYPD sergeants have stripes. He should have said it goes with the bars, or the rank. So, kind of funny there. So anyway, there's a little bit of trivia for you regarding the Commuter. I really enjoyed it. If I'm honest with you, I wasn't sure that I was going to really enjoy it. I do typically like action movies. I do typically like Liam Neeson. Like I really loved Taken, but you know, Taken 2 and 3, and then the TV show got a little overdone, I thought. But this one was really interesting because it was a mystery to figure out what he was supposed to do, find the person, who was the person, what was it about, what was going on. And it was also really kind of interesting to see, you know, the ethical aspect. Would you do it? Why or why not? Was there wrongdoing if you did it? Why or why not? And of course, you know, the circumstances that are going on in the main character's life, Michael's life as well, and why you may or may not take this risk or do this thing for someone. Anyway, so I really enjoyed it. I would maybe give it a 3.5 stars out of 5. It didn't completely knock my socks off, but I really enjoyed it. Let's say I enjoyed it a whole lot more than Backdraft that I did last time. So, really kind of fun. But it is, you know, almost an entire movie on a train, and him just trying to figure out what's at play here. So, let me know if you guys have watched this movie. What were your thoughts? Do you plan on watching it? Let me know. So the second film I watched the past 2 weeks was Casablanca. I am not someone who typically enjoys the older movies just because they're old. I don't tend to be terribly wowed. Sometimes I can even be a little bit nitpicky about the overacting that was so prevalent in some of the older movies. I adored this film. It was witty. The dialogue was snappy. It was funny in some parts. It was a little bit heartbreaking in some parts. If you have not seen this film, I would highly recommend it. It was an entirely black and white film. It was shot in 1942, right after World War II, and it is a World War II film. It's categorized as war drama, and then on IMDb they have it as romance war drama. I think it is... war drama would be the right terminology for it. It's not action. We don't see any of the fighting of the war. We don't see any, you know, big action sequences. It is a romance and a story of people's lives during Nazi occupation and what happened when everybody tried to flee the continent to come to the Americas, fleeing the Nazis by way of Lisbon. When they couldn't get to Lisbon through Europe, they went south to Morocco and then tried to get to Lisbon there, and from Lisbon over to North America. Really an interesting storyline of some of the corruption of police and the politics between the Third Reich and local authorities. Definitely a lot of corruption, definitely a lot of political talk, but the music was fabulous. A lot of it is set in a cafe or bar in the 1940s. Costumes and hair and makeup were beautiful. The way they spoke was just beautifully articulate. And like I said, it was witty. I didn't feel like it was terribly overacted. I really enjoyed this film. So let me give you some of the stats, okay? It was filmed in 1942. It is PG. It is 1 hour and 42 minutes. The little synopsis here says, a cynical expatriate American cafe owner, again, cafe, struggles to decide whether or not to help his former lover and her fugitive husband escape the Nazis in French Morocco. That's the gist of it. It really is. Really enjoyed this film. I think I would give it a 4.5 or 5 out of 5. It really made me feel something, and some of it is nostalgia from a time period that I'm incredibly interested in. I think the 40s are a really interesting time. I'm also a world history major, so I did a lot of world history studying, and I find this time period incredibly interesting. Sad though it may be, the dress, the culture, different things going on in the world, creating kind of a subculture, just really interesting time period for me. I also love 1940s music, so really a fun time for me to watch. This is starring Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart. One piece of trivia that has to do with the film, but actually me personally, is this is a film that has several quotes that are near and dear to my heart for a weird, quirky reason. So this quirky reason happens to be that my mother and I, while she was going to college as a single mom, lived with my grandparents for a number of years. And for most of my younger childhood, my grandparents, my papa specifically, had a recording on our answering machine back when landlines were still absolutely a thing. And when you called and got the answering machine, it said, "Of all the gin joints in all the world, you had to call on this one. Well, leave a message, because if you don't, you regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. Ah, here's looking at you, kid." So the fact that it took me until I'm 33 years old to finally sit down and watch Casablanca is a travesty. And I am so glad that I've rectified this. When he said "of all the gin joints in all the world," I just melted. It brought back so much nostalgia. So many people thought they were being pranked when they called my house. Other people thought it was the most hilarious thing in the world. So it was really fun. I've also just loved the line, "Here's looking at you, kid," and now I can say, like, I've watched that film. I adore that film. I will watch that film again. Really enjoyed this film. But there's a little look-see into the quirky lives of my family. Let's see about some trivia. This is a film that I gave 5 stars, but you don't have to take my word for it. It was the winner of 3 Oscars. It won for Best Director, Best Writing and Screenplay. It was nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Best Cinematography Black and White, Best Film Editing, Best Music and Score. But it won for Best Director, it won for Best Writing and Screenplay, and it won, ladies and gentlemen, for Best Picture. I'm not surprised at all. Great film. In addition to that, many of the actors who played the Nazis were in fact German Jews who escaped from Nazi Germany. That's pretty interesting because of the first fact, many of them being German Jews. In the famous scene where the Marseillaise is sung over the German song Watch on the Rhine, many of the extras had real tears in their eyes. A large number of them were actual refugees from Nazi persecution in Germany and elsewhere in Europe, and were overcome by the emotions the scene brought out. This particular scene of the film I'd actually been shown at the University of Washington in one of my history classes, so it was the only scene of the movie I'd ever seen before. And it was really powerful in lecture when they showed it, just the small clip, but watching it completely with the rest of the film was really awesome. And we obviously understood a whole lot better why they were doing this. having watched the whole film, and it was beautiful. And I do actually remember watching it and going, wow, that looks like real emotion. Now we know why. How incredible, right? Humphrey Bogart had to wear platform shoes to play alongside Ingrid Bergman to compensate for the height disparity. This is really interesting to me. I am going to have to look up how tall is Humphrey Bogart, because I thought he looked rather tall. It makes me think that a lot of the other men in the film were possibly quite short, because he towered over some of the other men. Maybe again, he was wearing these platform shoes. Let me find out. Pause, please. So I just went ahead and Googled it. Humphrey Bogart was 5'8" and Ingrid Bergman was 5'10". Wow, for tall girls. Interesting. So definitely he was either standing on a box or wearing platform shoes, or they were quite short men that he was towering over in some of these other scenes. Rick's Cafe, which is where most of the film takes place, was one of the few original sets built for the film. The rest were all recycled from other Warner Brothers productions due to wartime restrictions on building supplies. This next bit of trivia is a doozy. Now keep in mind that I just raved about this film in 2021. Just for posterity, I figured I better mention that. This is a 1942 film, which won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture. But in the 1980s, this film's script was sent to readers at a number of major studios and production companies under its original title, Everybody Comes to Rick's. So that's what the film was originally supposed to be named, and then it was changed in 1942. But now in the 80s, it was sent out using that original title. Some readers recognized the script, but most did not. Many complained that the script was, quote, not good enough to make a decent movie. Others gave such complaints as too dated, too much dialogue, and not enough sex. Incredible. Just incredible. I can definitely say that it works for me in 2021. So how interesting, right? If you guys have not seen this film, I would highly recommend. I am just now getting into the wide world of film before my era. I've seen a fair few, but I know that I'm just scratching the surface. So if you guys have any other suggestions or ideas for me, please go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. I am always open to them, and I'm looking for some more good films to watch. I'm not just an action junkie, as some people might think, Lisa. Alright, and the third movie that I am watching, which I will finish up after I'm done shooting this film because it is one of my favorites. It is just a feel-good movie. It is a romantic comedy. It makes me just giggle incessantly. It's called Crazy Stupid Love. This film was made in 2011. It is rated PG-13. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes. This is starring Steve Carell, the lovely Julianne Moore, Ryan Gosling, and Emma Stone, with appearances by Kevin Bacon and many other people that you will undoubtedly recognize throughout the film. Give you a short synopsis here. A middle-aged husband's life changes dramatically when his wife asks him for a divorce. He seeks to rediscover his manhood with the help of a newfound friend, Jacob, Ryan Gosling, learning to pick up girls at bars. And so this is going to follow kind of 3 people: Emma Stone and her kind of trajectory, Steve Carell and Julianne Moore, as their marriage seems to be in shambles, and Ryan Gosling just got dive bombed by a fly. Did anybody see that? Did that just come onto the camera? You saw it here, folks. Okay, I'm a little afraid now. I feel like I'm being hunted. I don't know how a fly got in here, I guess, when we let the dogs out. I digress. Reel it in. Okay. What was I saying? I'm so thrown. Okay. So anyway, and so the third person is Ryan Gosling, who is a perpetual pickup artist, and he takes pity on Steve Carell moping in the bar and decides he's going to help him find his manhood again. This movie is probably not politically correct in any way, shape, or form, but it absolutely has redeeming qualities and virtues in and of. There's a lot of heart behind it, and they touch on some really real life, hard relationship issues and life issues, midlife crises, and what do we do when we started life so young, and just really, really heartfelt. Also, the star of the show in a lot of ways for me is the young man who plays Robbie, who is Steve Carell's son in the movie. Total show stealer. I guess we would say thief, right? I can speak. Guys, it's 11:05 p.m. I'm tired. So sorry. Excuse any of the crazy that's going on here today. Anyway, let's get on with some of the trivia. This is kind of interesting. The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2010 Blacklist, which is a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. So, interestingly enough, maybe someone saw it from the 2010 Blacklist and decided to make it in 2011. I don't know, but it has my heart completely. This is a 5-star movie for me. Different than Casablanca, right? This is not a sweeping film noir movie, but it's a feel-good movie. It is a laugh-out-loud movie. It's heartfelt. It's hilarious. The eye candy is impeccable. Let's just call a spade here. But it's also just, I mean, most liked unmade movie, right? Interesting little tidbit here. Steve Carell has said that he hates the title of the film, stating that he couldn't imagine a group of college guys saying, 5 tickets to Crazy Stupid Love, please. One of the working titles Carell preferred was The Wingman, which he felt was a boring title, but more accurately described the plot. And I actually couldn't agree more. Crazy Stupid Love is one of those that you're like, well, what's that about again? Which one is that? And The Wingman, that's completely sums up the movie. Well, not completely, but a more accurate description, as he says. Robbie's class is studying The Scarlet Letter. This novel is the basis for Emma Stone's previous movie, Easy A. That's kind of interesting, actually. That's funny. And again, Robbie, the son, is complete showstopper. The name David Lindhagen is said 19 times in the film. Now I want to go back, rewind the 35 minutes I've watched previous to shooting this video, and rewatch it. This would be the most amazing drinking game in the world. If I drank. I don't. I'm boring. But this is one of those absolute ridiculous. They say David Lindhagen over and over and over and over, and they don't ever just say David. It is David Lindhagen, to the point where it does just make you laugh. I have a really kind of interesting sense of humor. It can be very raunchy at times. Mostly it has to do with plays on words, being punny, semantic humor, right? Linguistic humor, and just real-time awkward humor. My husband a lot of times goes, oh my gosh, I cannot watch. Like, the kind of humor I like is when it's like, oh my gosh, I've been in that situation before. It was the most awkward thing in the world, and I lived through it, and now I'm watching somebody else do it. It makes Sean so uncomfortable, but it makes me laugh until I almost pee my pants, because it's real life, y'all. And that's some funny stuff. I mean, those are the kinds of things that are just funny because it's true. You know, like that kind of thing happens. And I have several movies like that will probably crop up in this list eventually. One last little bit of trivia. It says, when Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell discuss getting, okay, it's a little bit of a spoiler because it's one of those cute little, it's not a spoiler, it's just a cute part in the film, okay? So if you want to be completely surprised and you've never seen this movie, I'm going to hold up my hand and just mute me until my hand goes down, okay? It's really not a spoiler at all. It means nothing to the rest of the film, but it absolutely delighted me when I saw it happen. So here we go. When Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell discussed getting Mr. Miyagi'd, Ryan Gosling grabs Carell's nose and squeezes playfully, saying, "Honk." This is a reference to The Karate Kid Part 2, made in 1986, when Mr. Miyagi honked the nose of an opponent instead of striking him. It was so cute. It was so dang cute. So many little parts of this film are adorable, and when you think they're gonna go with just raunchy sex, they go with really delightful, heartfelt, melt your heart. Oh my gosh, so cute. Also, Steve Carell in this film is like the dad that you always wanted to have, just daddy perfection personified. Just melt your heart. So anyway, if you haven't seen Crazy Stupid Love, please see it. Let me know what you think. If you don't like romantic comedies, don't watch the film and then tell me it was terrible. Yeah, it's a rom-com, but it's really, really sweet. So that is what I have for you for C. For D, I've got several on the docket, and I'm going to choose between them. I don't think I'm going to get all of these in, okay? And I may find more. I was trying to find a few that I hadn't seen before that were even vaguely interesting to me, and after a couple of quick searches on several different medias, I wasn't able to find very many. Most of them I had seen or had absolutely no interest seeing. So I am going to delve a bit further, and so there may be some surprises when you see my D video later. But a couple of them are on the docket for me are Definitely Maybe, a rom-com with a whole bunch of amazing actors. There's Ryan Gosling, Elizabeth Banks, Rachel Weisz, and the lovely, lovely Isla Fisher, and Abigail Breslin plays his daughter and does a phenomenal, phenomenal job. Another scene stealer. So there's that one. Another one of my favorite all-time rom-coms. Also, Die Another Day. Who can go wrong with Pierce Brosnan as James Bond? Love James Bond. Love action movies. No-brainer there for me. Double Jeopardy. One of my favorite movies of all time. Now this is kind of a suspense thriller, mystery-ish, about a woman who is accused of killing her husband, and she has zero memory of it, swears she didn't, and finds out maybe he's still alive, and what's she gonna do about it, and how's she gonna get her son back that he's got. And the last film that is on the docket is also another film that I've seen, so I've seen all four of these, called Dangerous Minds, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. And if I didn't say before, Double Jeopardy is starring Ashley Judd and one of my favorite all-time actors in the entire world, Tommy Lee Jones. So there's that. Dangerous Minds is the last one on my list. Again, I will be looking for others, but it is actually a true story, or based on a true story, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. It is about a woman who is kind of down on her luck, just out of a bad abusive marriage, and she decides to get her emergency teaching certificate and goes to teach in a very rough inner city school where the past several teachers have had nervous breakdowns and quit. And the difference that she has made grabbing these kids' attention and changing their lives. It is based on the book My Posse Don't Do Homework, or something like that, written by Luann Johnson, who is the real life teacher. And I will make sure that I have all of those facts completely correct in next week's video when I watch Dangerous Minds. But one of my all-time favorite movies, made in the early 90s, I believe, early to mid 90s. Anyway, that's what I've got for you today. I am gonna finish Crazy Stupid Love tonight while I'm editing this video, and also continuing on Weaving in Ends. I did want to give you a little bit of an update on this crazy corner to corner sunflower afghan for my auntie. Her birthday was February 24th, just a couple of days ago, and so I'm finishing this up because hopefully I will get to meet up with her next week and deliver her this lovely throw. She collects sunflowers, and it's kind of our nickname for her, so hopefully she will really, really love it. It's a complete surprise. So I better get a cooking on this thing, right? Anyway, this is way too long. I apologize. I watched too many movies and had to look up trivia, but I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed. This is super, super fun for me. Check out the other Movie and Stitch collaborators. I know I'm just enjoying the heck out of seeing what everybody else is watching and getting a ton of new movie recommendations, because who doesn't want to sit around and crochet and watch movies? Am I right? Throw in some popcorn and it's all good. All right, you guys have a great night, day, week, weekend, whenever you're watching this. As always, I love ya. Have a great day. Bye.